Good afternoon from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. My name is John Kyo, and I'm delighted to be back again with a new series on digital transformation. This is the 10 by 10 series that many of you are familiar with, where I speak with 10 executives for 10 minutes on a particular topic. And I'm delighted today to have with me Blossom Fletcher, and we're going to talk about digital transformation in developing countries. Good morning, Blossom.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Blossom Fletcher, and I'm delighted to be here.
Wonderful. So, Blossom, in the first minute or so, tell us a little bit about you and also a little bit about your company.
My name is Blossom Fletcher, and I am typically a programmer, data scientist, data engineer, and I've got very strong background in SQL and Python development. And I have done this for years. I've been coding since I was 17. So I am the Chief Executive Officer of AIpidata Limited, and AIpidata is a data artificial intelligence consultancy that specializes in data and basically delivering value from data to customers, driving data transformation, driving change, helping growth, as well as artificial intelligence, robotics, automation, embedding, and visualization. So basically, we're a complete data consultant, but then we create apps. So that's it.
Fantastic. So you've worked in developing countries, of course. Can you share some of your experiences in working in developing countries? And you responded to my LinkedIn request because I felt that too many solution providers are talking about solutions that are easily deployed in countries that are well developed, that have a lot of resources, a lot of money, a lot of people, and a lot of know-how. But in the developing countries, they're not that easy, are they?
No. First of all, developing countries, just like you say, are technologically handicapped, especially when it comes to cutting edge, real time, latest technology, especially the cloud. Some of them have not moved into cloud computing yet, and some of them still use very old hosted servers and older versions of software. I think the most important thing in working with a developing country is not to think of massive amounts of scale and basically planning and embedding for the future or iterating for the future yet. Because for developing countries, what they want to do is right here, right now. So they sort of need they need this service right here, right now, and then it needs to answer the problem that they have. So a good example is we worked with the Ghanaian government at the time, and one of the things that they wanted to do was for them to make sure that all the people that they were dealing with oil with, so basically, if you bought oil with them, they wanted it to be one single platform where they could put their taxes on, and then you could basically book from that. Now, this is going to be a mobile app, but then it was supposed to be hosted. They had not moved at the time. They had not moved into cloud technologies. And then to drive organizational change, when we suggested it, there was a lot of kickback as usual, because they weren't open to change. They didn't have the right consultants to help them continue to make it work. There was just a plethora of issues and risks which we identified from the beginning. So at the end of the day, what we did was basically to build it and deploy it on a typical physical server. And the only thing, we just made sure that one, we always had the service always on, and the service is greatly monitored. So there's a ton of monitoring tools that are constantly monitoring the service real time. So there's a lot of jobs running, a lot of things working, and in that way, they're able to deal with it and basically employ people. So for them, it was great for them in such a way where it was hosted on their servers. They had complete control of it, including the security. They decided when and when not to use it. It was easier for them. And basically, they're still using that product at the moment. They're still using it. But for the future, they've spoken to us again and said, oh, they'd like to move to the cloud. Even though, and then we already created a cloud deployment plan. So in the event that we need to move to the cloud, these are the things we're going to do to make sure that we're reducing the amount of time and a lot of things. So I think my experiences with them is very simple. If you're thinking of working with them, always have a plan B, always analyze your risks early, because most of the risks, you don't want to use cutting edge technology, you're just okay with what they have. You need to make sure that whatever you're giving them is actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do and nothing more. Because eventually you're asking for more things out of the artifacts. Is then you don't gradually move them into transformation. Like, okay, if you need this part, you need to actually move into the cloud. So now they've gotten to that point where they need more stuff. They need more out of that app. They need more out of that product. So one of the things they're doing now, they're willing to move to the cloud because of that. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's fascinating, Blossom. I think I could extract from all of that, keep it simple and solve a current problem. Don't try to oversell solutions if the environment is not ready for it. Now, that's working with the government. Have you also worked with industry players in developing countries?
Yes.
Is it been a similar experience?
It's about the same thing. Now, for the industry players that we worked with a bank, financial organization in Nigeria this time. One of the things that they suffer is a brain drain. So a lot of their staff were leaving and moving into better countries looking for better job opportunities.
Right.
And because of that, they had a lot of systems that become obsolete. There was not a lot of monitoring. A lot of their systems.
You're on mute. You went on mute.
9, 10.
Yeah, can hear you.
Yeah. So they'd have downtime for those hours. So one of the things that we came in to do, first of all, was to create automated solutions for them. Solutions where they generally wouldn't need, a lot of human interface. And then we speak to them about Cobots. That is having automation solutions like robots in the business to help them do those tasks for them. So eventually brought things like RPA, robotic process automation, to them. So that sort of helped take away that system, that process. But then they themselves now were slightly willing to move to the cloud. Now they weren't willing to move everything to the cloud, but they were happy to put that solution in the cloud for them because it was a need.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned, Blossom, a word that I know and you know. It's called Cobots, and many people may not know what Cobots are. Can you explain briefly an example of a Cobot?
A good example of a Cobot is actually something that does a lot of automated human tasks for you in the business. Usually the way AIpidata works with Cobots is that we embed them in business processes.
Yeah, perfect.
So a basic business process for for the financial organization is that they have a process where they actually go at night to look at stocks and things like that. And that sort of informs, this is done by a physical person, and then they actually crunch the numbers and do a lot more things I cannot explain because, of the privacy. But that process, we had to create a cobot for them to do that work. And that was created by, that was actually coded by us we just Selenium and Python. And then we just created that little cobot for them. So it was doing all those automated tasks. So all of the human tasks had to go, and we just moved them very quickly into automation because of the need.
Wonderful. Thank you, Blossom. We have about 2 minutes left, so I want to talk to you about pricing of solutions and affordability in the developing countries. So we have about 2 minutes. What are your thoughts on price points for the developing countries?
The thing with price points for the developing countries is that when you're pricing developing countries, do not price them the same prices as you would price in better advanced economies to start with. It won't work for them. Now, the thing with them is if you can deliver the value, they are happy to shell out a lot more money than you would expect.
Yes.
The thing with them. So I'm big on proof of concepting, first of all. So I'd ask for a little budget, let me proof of concept and see just this little part of your organization and see what we can do with it. And usually it opens the floodgates for more money. So at first, never price them at that amount. Always look at it like you imagine that you have a branch of your company in another country and you need them to pay in their local currencies. But then there could be a flip side to the local currencies because of the fact that these currencies actually fluctuate. But usually what I do is I prefer to charge in US dollars to the countries. And in that way, it's easier for them because, it's an easier currency for them to change to. So once they do, and they've seen the proof of concept, it could be a very small budget to be like, let's say 5,000 USD. give them a little bit. And once
Yeah.
they like it, it's easier for them to shell a lot more money. But the thing is, with advanced countries in tech, you can make a lot more money than even here, as long as you do the value.
Yeah.
The value,
Yeah.
the value first. Yeah.
Very, very important. So, Blossom, we have less than a minute left in that, let's say, 45 seconds. What is your guidance and top tips for companies that want to deploy and work with customers in developing countries? What tips would you give them?
First of all, you've got to have really, really strong consultants who have been working for a very long time. So who have used old systems, who understand older systems, and who can still code in older systems without actually forcing them to move into newer systems. Automation and deployment is not automatic. So you have to do it the old method where you deploy based on an environment. You may not have Kubernetes, you may not have Docker to do all that because most of it is not in the cloud. So there has to be really, really experienced, older, not really older, but people who actually understand all the systems and can work with those older systems and drive value very, very quickly and understand all the pitfalls before we get to the end of the system and actually avoid it. So the risk has to be analyzed from the beginning, including human risks, because that's one of the biggest issues. You might have a subject matter expert that's not available. So all those things need to be analyzed from the beginning, dealt with very quickly. Agile is great, but you might have to deploy Agile and Waterfall to make it work. So I think that's it for me.
Wonderful. That was a fascinating discussion, and the point you just raised is very, very important for technology companies not to overlook this, to have people that understand the older technologies that are currently deployed in the developing countries, and you made that point very wisely. Blossom, thank you so much for joining me today. And to everyone out there, this is the first of a 10 by 10 series. So keep tuned in for more fascinating discussions with brilliant people like Blossom. If you want to get in touch with Blossom, her contact details will be underneath the video once it's posted. So thank you again, Blossom, and have a great day in London.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.